Welcome to CCTV America. I'm Mike Walter. From the United Nations in the United States, swift condemnation of Hamas for the collapse of the Gaza ceasefire. For its part, Hamas blames Israel. The truce collapsed after militants killed 2 Israeli soldiers and evidently captured another. The U.S. helped call for the end to this failed truce just a short time ago. Let's go straight to Jessica Stone at the White House. Jessica, how frustrated is the United States?
Pretty frustrated, Mike. In fact, in the last hour, the president expressing his belief that Hamas is to blame for breaking the ceasefire and saying that it's going to be much more difficult now to get back to the table than it would have been before. He did call for an immediate release of that Israeli soldier that was abducted. And of course, that would go a long way to getting Israel back to the negotiating table. But the president today actually suggesting that people on both sides may need to feel the cost even more heavily to get the level of leverage needed to get them both back to a ceasefire.
In past conflicts, sometimes people have to feel deeply the costs. Anybody who's been watching some of these images, I'd like to think should recognize the costs. You know, you have children who are getting killed. You have women defenseless who are getting killed. You have Israelis whose lives are disrupted constantly and living in fear.
And the president saying it will be difficult to put a ceasefire back together, particularly because he's not quite certain that the international community and those that are party to these negotiations, Mike, will actually take Hamas seriously, that it could follow through on another ceasefire agreement. Meantime, the U.S. Congress just on the verge of approving $225 million more for the Iron Dome defense missile system there in Israel.
Jessica, did you detect a change in tone at all from yesterday? Of course, the White House at that time was condemning the shelling of a UN school, suggesting Israel is to blame. Today, really targeting Hamas with some criticism.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this has been really, today's tone was more reflective of what the general tone has been from this White House. But yes, you're right. Yesterday was the strongest rhetoric that we've heard to date, condemning the belief that Israel was behind the shelling of that United Nations shelter that housed thousands of people, and at least 19 were killed in that shelling attack on Wednesday. But it is a pattern of tough rhetoric that we've heard from this White House all along. There isn't the most warm relationship between President Barack Obama and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Nonetheless, they've been on the phone quite a bit, daily, even hourly, throughout this whole violent episode in Gaza. And you have to remember, of course, that there is always going to be very strong financial support, the strongest yet under this president, for Israel.
Jessica Stone, live for us at the White House. Thanks so much.